This is part 3 of your poetry notes, and this video will focus on the different types of poems that are out there. So the first type is a narrative poem, and this specifically is a poem that tells a story, and it usually has a setting, characters, and a plot. So think exposition, initiating event, rising action, climax, falling action, and resolution. And this is the main rule that this type of poem follows. A free verse poem is poetry without any sort of rules. So there's no rhythm, there's no pattern or meter, or there's no rhyme, nothing. It's the poet gets to decide how long each verse is going to be. The words do not necessarily have to make complete sense. It's not following any rules. The third is a ballad, and this is similar to a narrative poem in that it's telling a story, but it's different because it specifically has patterns within it that make it song-like. So a ballad is a song-like poem that's also telling a story, and they're usually about some sort of adventure or romance. So if the story is about one of those two things, it might be a ballad instead of a narrative poem. And it usually has some sort of refrain or chorus that repeats a couple of times within the poem. So think like songs that you know, sometimes there's a chunk of them that the singer would say over and over again. That's kind of like a ballad. A limerick is a 5-verse humorous poem and almost always begins with "there once was a something." So in this example, there once was a man who cooked with a pan. He loved to spin that pot of tin until one day it hit the fan. And it also follows a specific rhyming pattern. So you'll notice 1, 2, and 5. Those 3 lines all have that same end rhyme. And then 3 and 4 also have the rhyme, but it's different from the other 3 lines. So we call this an A-A-B-B-A rhyming pattern. And we use the letters as kind of like a code for which rhyme we're talking about. And the last one is a haiku. This is a 3-verse Japanese poem, and they're usually about nature. And this one has nothing to do with rhyme, but everything to do about the rhythm of its syllables. So the first verse would be 5 syllables, the second is 7, and the third is 5 again. So we usually say 5, 7, 5. So the example, the bright sun shone down onto the cat and the bird. Now the bird is, and you can add to it. And that's it on types of poems.